So we started recording. Okay, so so for those who don't know YAC, it's Youth Against Corruption. It's a youth-led project with the mission to leverage youth, social innovation and social entrepreneurship in the fight against corruption. How? By bringing youth together and giving them a space to use their talents and what they love to do to make the change they want to see in Lebanon. Our vision is to build a creative community of youth that dares to control and prevent corruption. So what we do, we organize YACtimes. Some of them are online and some like today, and some of them are offline. Usually we invite experts in different fields and we talk of different topics that are affecting our everyday life. And we take some time to design together possible solutions that we believe can make our life easier. Why we do this? Because we want you to have informed socio-political opinion about the topics that affect them and hence empower them to make the change they want to see. Other than these events, we started building a platform. It's called the YAC database, where we give visibility to youth entrepreneurship projects in Lebanon that are providing solutions to these 7 sectors. And these sectors were chosen because our community believed that they were the most impacted by corruption and they were the most sectors that are affecting their lives, like waste, energy, transport, or even finding jobs or health or youth engagement. But today our topic is about transportation. So this is why we wanted to do this session to understand more the transport landscape in Lebanon and think together with Riders Right, our guest speakers today, how we as youth can contribute to making a change. This database, we're building it in a very participatory way. So please feel free, if you know any project that can make a change in these 7 sectors, please feel free to share it with us so we can grow this database and like have more visibility to entrepreneurs and at the same time find solutions to our challenges. So what are we going to talk about today? So it would be, we will start like with a small icebreaker, just in a few seconds. And then we will go through a history bus. We'll talk about transportation today. We'll go then to the challenge bus. We will take some time to reflect on what has been said. And then we will jump to the solution part with the small creativity workshop and then conclude. But before, we'd like you to know that for every YACtime we do, there are these rules for a successful YACtime. Please take just a few seconds to read them. So you will like have a general overview of how we usually do these times. Let me know when you're ready in the chat, please. Okay, so why do we have these rules? Because the aim of this session is not to focus on blaming, because we already know that, like even before starting, we know there are a lot of challenges in transportation, but the idea is to enjoy the ride, it's to learn and to enjoy, like to use this space to learn as much as possible, to ask and to exchange. So I'll start with a small icebreaker. Please, can you all go to menti.com and then type 31. So maybe now you can see it better. It's 31149. So 31149. We'll type it in the chat. Three one one 4 9. Okay, so okay, so I don't take the train in Lebanon because I have my own spaceship. There are no stations next to my house. I prefer taking the tramway. I take the bus. So we only have 3 votes till now. We still need the rest of the votes. Come on, guys. Let's see why don't you use the train in Lebanon. Wow, that's cool. Someone takes the bus. Most of you guys have spaceships. Wow. That's cool. Okay, so we have 2 bus riders. 3. Okay, fair enough. So we don't take the train in Lebanon because most of us have our own, oh my God, our own spaceship. That's good. So please now let's go to the second question. Okay. So how much trust do you have in public transport in Lebanon? Okay, that's cool. So almost like, I wanted to say that most of you like believe it will get better, and then we got no trust at all. Does anyone still want to vote? Maybe more trust?
I voted.
Okay. Okay, guys, I'm sorry, I did not realize that you did not see the one before, so I'm going to share it now so you can see it. The results for the first. So this is how it was. We have most of the votes. I have my own spaceship. This is why I don't use it. Okay, back to the presentation. Okay. So I'm happy to introduce Carine, our first speaker for the day. Carine has a background in architecture and urban planning. She's doing currently her PhD at KU Leuven, Belgium, about transportation. She's crazy about mobility, and she believes in a lot of participation to make things work. Thank you, Carine, for joining. We're looking forward to hearing you. Our second speaker is Chadi.
Actually, it's my pleasure to join you.
Can you guys see Shadi's? Yeah, great. So our second speaker is Chadi. Chadi has a background in telecom engineering. Hi, Chadi, and he has worked in software development. He started his path with working for mobility in 2008 when he created the first platform for buses in Lebanon. In 2015, he co-founded the Bus Map project, and then in 2019, he co-founded Riders Ride, and he's a car free person. So that's super cool. Carine, the floor is yours.
Can I do the sharing?
Yes. So please just give me a few seconds to
okay. Perfect.
Give you the. Okay. Here you go. I believe you can. Is it working from your side now? Yeah.
unmute. And recording the recording, it's how I can do the recording.
Yes, don't worry, it's recording.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, so the results today, you're hearing me, right? Okay, just.
Yeah, perfect. And we see your screen.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so I wasn't quite surprised that most of you don't trust the system, because you don't. I am not sure if you know that the system exists in Lebanon and serves like a amount of people who are in need to move across the city. So I hope after this session you will change your mind and start start at least to think about taking the public transportation that exists in Beirut. So before that, in order to convince you, with me you're going back. We are going back in time, so into the history, in order to see what went wrong before the war period, and after the war. So the problem that we see nowadays on the streets doesn't go back only for 30 years back. Like, we cannot blame the post-civil war government. It is there were decisions made long time ago that favored the car over the public transportation investment. So if we see that we had tram before, we had train to a certain extent, and for political and economic reasons, the state decided to follow the Westerns and to introduce the car. So in that way, the car was like, it was a bit of we are in modernization. So let's use the car. And one of the things that they said, that of course we are trying to use the car is important, and it serves a lot of people, and it's like it's related to social status. That's why we need to dismantle the tram and the train. But in fact, if we go, like, we dig in the history, some of the politicians really prefer to introduce the car for their political benefits. So for instance, to introduce the Mercedes or any other company and to get the a profit from it. Another aspect, it's because of course at the beginning the tram was perceived as the black devil, and also the train. So it took like a while that the people started to adapt to this in public transportation. And after that, it wasn't like really how to say it, they are attached to it. So it was like more like, okay, let's move toward the car. And of course that they were promoting this kind of this vehicle, the private vehicle. After that, they dismantled the tram and the trains. We have now what remained in the streets is the buses who continue to serve the population in parallel to the car and the taxi share system. I'm not going to go really focus on this part of what's happening now, because I will go with it through the slides. And if you want to see more about plans in Beirut, about the public transportation in Beirut, you could go to the Nabila Ash articles. He has a lot of plans and ideas about what happened in the past. So here's if you see, like, yes, we did have a tram, we did have a train, but now we don't have anything. We only have the remains of the railway tracks. And we see that in the past, when we say that we have informal system now, or the system doesn't exist, we did already have a bosta that serve for the villages. And as well, we had like a public transportation, the tram and the formal bus. But at the same time, we had a lot of traffic, and it was unbearable. So, and it's still until now. And the thing that, like, years after the years, so when the formal public transportation started to vanish from the cities, of course, people didn't have other alternative, which was the car. So that's why more or less, the people now, we see only people relying on the car because in the back end of their mind and their perception that this car is only way to move, whereas they are neglecting what is actually exists. So here's a bit of a framework to see what happened in with the state decisions. So what happened for to create what's created the transportation disadvantages. So we have weak traffic enforcement. So one of the reasons, if you want to reduce the traffic, so if we really obey the law, we will the traffic will be reduced 30%. And of course, the chaos in driving and car fixation. And on another hand, we have the unstable context of Lebanon. Since forever, we had always political problems, which is affecting the state itself. And that's why there was like a really weak, poor public service provision. In a way, that affected at the same time was affected and affected the social aspect of the society, because the society is divided according to sectarianism, and that's implied to have a territorial divisions across the cities. And of course, we have a diversity, and the attachment to the car was more than a social class and than a mode of transportation. So in a way, this has affected the travel behaviors of the citizens in Lebanon. And by what I mean by citizens, I don't mean only Lebanese, but it's all the people who lives in Lebanon. And that's why we have 80% of cars, 18% of taxi service, 1.7% of buses and vans, and 0.3% for unmotorized transport. And the focus of this presentation will be only on the 1.7% of the buses and the vans. So what remained from this glorious mobility that we had in the past? Nowadays, if you can type in the chat box, if you can recognize which one is the state-owned buses and the private operated buses, it really helps me to know if you have any idea, but I cannot see your
So
answer.
Carine, most of them are saying 2 till now. 2 is the state operating buses.
But do you know? Do you actually know why it's this one is the state bus and the other ones are? Do you know the difference?
Because it has blue lines.
Well, not really. But the thing that if you look at the license, the private, the public, state-owned buses are white, and the privately operated are red. And this goes to if you are owning this the license or not. And the thing that more or less of the people who own these buses, it's to have like the social security system. So when you are working with the state with the state, you really don't need to have this to own the red plate. You can only just go and work. So that's what's true. It's number 2. So, and the thing that what remained from the past, nowadays we have between 35 and 50 buses, state-owned buses, more than around 5,000 registered buses, but these are the registered. We have more than 12,000 not registered. So what happens here, that these people uses these red plates for other vans, and we have more than 30,000 registered taxi or taxi service. However, according to the state actors, these guys says that these people are filling the gap of the states, and the system is made by people and for people. And what's a second? Yeah, and once one person said, if you want to call it corruption, however, this informal arrangement that's happening are really customized to the people needs. So in a way, when the state did not really invest since after the war until now in the system, people started really to work on serving their needs. And this is like it's shown in the buses. And the thing that when we call the system informal transit system, in fact, we have two types. We have state-owned and private-owned. But this is like merging them together. We are having the informal transit, and this goes back in time to after like around between 92 and 95, when the state really did not invest in the formal one. So the state-owned buses started to imitate how the private buses works. So in a way, opening the roads, not stopping on the bus stops, and opening the door when while driving. And it's quite created a competition between different buses on the same route. But this is important to know that these buses, when you say, yeah, they don't have dedicated routes, indeed they have dedicated routes. And those routes, they were in the past for formal bus roads to operate on them. But now they are taken over by other operators. And as well, we have also municipality buses that functions within certain territories. Like for example, we have the Quene, or this is like it is in the suburbs of Beirut, and they have like they serve their community according to certain schedule. Also, the municipal police like really keep an eye on the buses and the vans where to stop. This is what I'm talking here about, the informal transit. So they really tell them where to stop to make sure that they are working fine, there is no problems. But with this, like really how the system is there, in fact, and I understand why you don't trust the system, because people are really have the fear of taking the bus, and they perceive it as it doesn't exist, which means that it's dangerous. And there is no value to take this bus because it's mixed in the traffic, it's not maintained, it's not safe for women and children, and it's really good for the disabled people. And actually, you will be sharing a space, and you will not have a private, your own private space. And of course, there is a missing information of how to commute from point A to point B. But if we decode this informal, the transit system that we have we see that it's a civic hybrid public transportation, because on one side, when the drivers want to really be in the practice, they should have like a permit from the state, from the Ministry of Public Works and Transportation and Ministry of Interior, and they should should have the red plate. And also the system is really it has a vertical structure. So they have like an operator, a timekeeper, and drivers. So it's quite well structured. And sometimes this system is a family business, which means that a family will, like, instead of having a bakery, they have this system for themselves, like a bus route. So why not? So it's like it's a source of income for those people. Also, it's a cooperative business, because at some point, some people really either rent a red plate or work on the daily basis with an operator. So it's really a hybrid. So in a way, when you say that it's mafia and it's illegal and it's danger, no, it's just a business and that is serving a community. So
sorry to be interrupting, but just for the sake of time, we have to move to the next section.
Okay, just I'm like I can. It's just I'm at the end. Okay. So here, and in a way, so if we see that if we go back in time and see that the instabilities that happen in the city, in the country, this system is resisting because economically and politically, and it's filling the gap of the public service provision. And of course, as I said, it's provide a service and need, and and it created a bus community, and it's safe for everyone. So if you want really to take the bus, you'll find the way to take it. And I want to share with you some quotes from people I found that I took them from the bus map project blog about like they shared experience, like really a positive experience about taking the bus, and I hope you will be able, at some point you will start taking this bus system and to share this your experience with us. In reaction to that, and when I mentioned before that people, they really don't know what is there, really don't know how to take the bus and which bus to take, initiatives emerged. And these initiatives are tracking and trying to create coalitions in this between different actors in order to shed the light, the importance on the buses. And here I can give the floor to Chadi, who's going to explain what are these initiatives and how they are trying to increase the visibility of the bus system.
Hello all, thank you, Carine. And thank you, YAC, for having us today to talk about mobility and public transportation. So we start by an initiative called Bus Map Project that mapped and want to promote and improve the public transportation system in Lebanon because we want to make the system more visible. I think from the pool we had when we start, we had a lot of negative percentage on not using the system, and the reason is how we perceive the system. So our first aim is to make the system more visible and change the conversation and the discussion about the system, because as Carine said, there's a big stigma, a lot of stigma about the system, and also there's a lot of people not seeing or neglecting the system, and it's a big issue for us, because when you neglect anything, you can remove it easily. So we had a lot of when we were presenting our work in a lot of places or presentation, we had a lot of expressions. It's a nightmare. It's political, not political. It's legitimate, not legitimate. It's not a system. It's a system. We are dreamers. Whereas the authority plays in this. For us, the answer for all this is what Wim Wenders said: political decision when you direct people's eyes. So it's a political decision were made to make the system informal in an indirect way, and we are fighting the idea in a way to make the system more visible and let people to think about the system. So I don't know if you did see the map. It's our map. The first version were launched in 2016 in a photo action. I will later say about it. The next map is the last version of the map, and all this work were done by a team of volunteers and riders who took each bus, each line, and collect the data and were published for printing version and for an online version. We have now created an online platform for public transportation. Carine, can you move? Okay, so it's called busmap.me. You can go and surf. It's the first version. It's the second version, let's say. It's a beta version. We are working to make more features for it later. And if you have any feedback, please feel free later when you use it to connect with us. Please, Carine. Okay. So I want to give a definition. So we launched in 2019 the Riders' Rights. It's a CSO, grassroots CSO that work on mobility justice. It's a new concept. it's like there's a lot of people work on climate justice, special justice. So we are working on mobility justice. And for us, mobility justice is related to a lot of issues, to freedom of speech, to freedom of speech, to justice in general, to people. It's beyond the system, but to accessibility, affordability. So we are working on those issues, but now we are focusing on the public transportation system. And we see the informal system can be a backbone for any future system that can be invested for. But also we push for a justice in integration, the new system, and ownership for the new system with the private operators that Carine has talked about it. Please, Carine. Okay. So here a couple of things also we are working on is to create a real-time tracking pilot project to make a transparency platform for public transportation that will, for us, remove the conflicts between drivers and make the system more transparent for riders and the driver, and make the system more efficient and reliable and more inclusive with time. I will. Okay, so not only BusMap has worked on the system on transportation. There's a lot of or mapping, also a lot of initiative or people. So I started my project in 2018 as Lebanon Buses, as a platform, technology platform for the system or for transportation. Also, RotarAct has a project called Bus Stop Projects. They made, I don't know if you can see it in the highway of June, a couple of bus stops with RotarAct logo. Also, Zawarib has done a map also. Also, Trantra NGO also has started in 2010, maybe before. Also worked on public transportation to reinitiate the train. In 2015, we initiated BusMap project. Also, there's another initiative that works or startup called Yalla Bus, and also a smart bus stop company. Also, there's people working on bicycle or promoting bicycle, and we have a lot of future projects that the government is working on, like BRT. It's I don't know if you have heard about it. It's a bus rapid transit. It's a dedicated line for buses. It's like a train, but on roads, let's say it. The government is studying it now. I don't know how the effect will be on the informal system, because in 1995, there's a, let's say, formal transportation project has happened, but it was failed because it's not considering the informal system. So that's why the competition between a formal and informal, always the informal win at some point. Also, we have studies for train, couple of studies by Aegis Trail, I think. Also, studies or a plan for bike lane. They did not happen in Beirut and also on the Jounieh highway. Please. Also, I want to mention some activities. So in 2015, when we launched our first map in photo action, so not of we did not find in 2015 picture for buses or article about buses. So we try in this event to create. That's why we create the map, so the participant can serve the system. And in 2016, we were selected by SwitchMed to be a grassroots initiative on informal system in Lebanon. Also, some activities we did it or we were invited. I will say in Beirut Design Week, we launched the map, the final map last year. And this year we launched with them the launching of our NGO. Also, we have been in a lot of conferences related to public transportation. Also, we did make some activities to break the stigma, some trips with train or to visit Lebanon and let people to be introduced how to use the system and how it links region by public transportation. Also, we are collaborating with some classes with NDU case studies to work also to spread the culture of public transportation in Lebanon in general. And you can see a couple of photos of the team there. We were distributing the map at some point. Please. Also, one of projects that we did not do it and make the system or the bus map as catalyst for the system. We hope so. You can see on the left a map with Amhari language. A group of an NGO for women that make the map for their community based on our data. And that's what we want to do. We are making the bus map as an open data for reuse and elaborate the platform more and more. In the coronavirus period, we did launch a campaign called Bus Line Heroes to support and to make a solidarity with the drivers because the system were stopped by the government. And from a couple of days, we distribute the amount of money for 34 drivers. In 2020, we were launching a couple of series of webinars to talk more about mobility and informality in general. So at some point, we try to represent the voice of riders to make a new dimension in the public transportation. Also, a couple of Jawaiz ربحناهم or we were selected by SwitchMed. We were one Urb Hackathon. We are piloting the real time with Bada'il. Hope so we can do it in this unstable period. Also, I am with youth UNDP and in Jazz, and also we are UITP member. We are working with them on the informal transportation working group with them. I think we will move now.
Thank you, Chadi, for this overview. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
If you can allow me to share my screen, please.
Okay.
Oh, Karina has to do it. Karina, please.
Karina, or I am the host.
Just allow me to share my screen. Put me as host.
No, actually I gave it to Shadi. He should give it to you.
Okay, I am doing it. Karina, Christina Elias.
Okay, guys. So now it will be a bit more interactive.
Yes, Serena, you're the host now.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Can you guys see me? Let me know when you can see my screen, please.
We see your screen, challenge and solutions.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we can see.
So what are we going to do now? So we're going to take some time to brainstorm together on what Karina and Chadi shared already, and just share what we believe are the challenges for transportation in Lebanon. So they told us that there are, for example, some bicycle organizations working we have the bus map project working on buses. We have a plan made by the state that they explain. So according to you, what are the biggest challenges public transportation in Lebanon is facing? I will be typing your ideas, and I want you please to unmute yourself or just raise your hand in the chat, and then we go one by one for it to be clear. So whenever you want to say a challenge, please raise your hand in the chat and then unmute yourself and just give us the challenge so we can write it down. So since we're not many, maybe no need to raise your hand in the chat. Just unmute yourself and let us know. رح أقولها بالعربي. هلأ رح ناخد هيدا الوقت حتى نفكر سوا شو هن أكبر مشاكل عم بيواجهها النقل بلبنان. برأيكم من كل شيء قالوا كارينا ومن كل شيء قالوا شادي عن المشاريع اللي عم يطلعوا فيها، إن كان للباصز بلبنان، إن كان للبيسيكلاتات واللينز البايسيكل، إن كان للمشاريع اللي الدولة كانوا عم بيقولوا إنه عم تشتغل عليهم، شو برأيكم هلأ أكبر مشاكل عم بيواجهها النقل بلبنان أو أكبر تحديات؟
Serena?
Yes, go ahead, Sultan. Please don't raise your hand. Just خلص اعملوا unmute like microphone and let's go.
Okay, basically one of the challenges I think that we need to all work on is that to shift the Lebanese way of thinking of the public transport. Like it's for, I don't know, it's for people that cannot afford having their own car and people from different backgrounds. They use only the public transport. So that's, it's like, I don't know, a stigma like Shadi said or something like that. Basically,
you mean the
that's one. Number
culture,
two,
the social culture?
Yes, and also on the other hand, let's say because it's all centralized in Beirut, what about the other regions in Lebanon, the south, north, Beqa, you know, Mount Lebanon also. So we can't have a network reaching to all these areas also. So because people are also there, and Lebanon is a very small country, we can easily reach wherever you want within a couple of hours, 2 hours maximum. So an efficient public transport is needed in such a small country. So basically, I think those are the two things that I wanted to share.
Thank you.
Serena?
Yes, Shadi.
اوكي. النقل المشترك بلبنان من وقت ما تأسس إن كان النظامي أو الانفورمال ما نعمل وحسب حساب كل الناس. عم بحكي في خاصة الأشخاص اللي عندهم إعاقات بيستعملوا ويل شير أو البلايند أو كل هالأشخاص، لأنه ما فينا نستخدم لا الباصات ولا بالمحطات مجهزة ولا المواقف الباصات. إذا في من مواقف الباصات معمول حسابنا.
يعني انت برايك انه منا اكسكلوزيف السيرفيسز وفي كثير ناس بيضطروا يكونوا برا لانه منه مجهز لهم، يعني منه.
انا بستعمل ويل شير، انا مضطر استعمل سيارتي الخاصه لا اقدر اروح، ان كان بده يروح على مدرسته، على جامعته، على شغله، على التنزه، لاي مكان بده يقصده، ما في مجال لاي منطقه حتى بقلب المدينه.
Thank you, Fadi.
I think mainly the public transportation should be convenient. بلبنان it's more convenient to use the car. يعني في lack of information، في lack of organization. يعني إذا بدي أفكر أنا أروح أخذ الباص بدي أقول إنه أوكي بنزل على الطريق وبنطر يقطع باص، ويمكن ما بيوصل على الدورة، يمكن بيوقف بونتلياس، يعني ويمكن ما ينزل anyway، يمكن إنه يصير معه شيء، ما في this is why I think ما فيها trust in the system. So I think it's great that في مثل بصمة project وغير initiatives that are doing this. I think it should also be adopted on a national scale. مش بس ببيروت ومش بس يعني ما بعرف what is exactly يمكن هلا نحكي فيهم solutions يمكن هلا it's more on the challenges. بس yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
حيدر بدك تخبرنا؟ محمد يونس منال.
I think the problem in the transportation is kind of a closed loop between the government and the people, and also the few people who are profiting from the car industry, in a sense that someone should have لازم يكون في قرار لحتى تتحسن public transportation. والمشكله اللي عم بظن اكبر مشكله هي انه المستفيدين من انه يكون في اكثر سيارات واقل public transportation هن الناس، معظمهم الناس بالسلطه. اذا بتشوف التاكس او سهوله انه نجيب سيارات من برا كثير سهله مقارنه من انه الدوله تحسن قطاع المواصلات. ها اول شغله. ثاني شغله مثل ما نذكر قصه اللبنانيين the way of thinking, but I think also هذه كمان شوي تفصيل. اذا الدوله مش بتجبر بس anyway بتقدم بديل مقنع للعالم، العالم كلها بظن بتحاول تغير فكرتها. فبظن اكبر مشكله هي قصه politicians are profiting from this. اول شغله كمان غير انه استيراد السيارات من برا، في كمان قصه انه معظم العالم اللي عم يستفيدوا من قطاع المواصلات هن مثل تقولي حاشيه، مش حاشيه بس انه تحت تابعين لزعيم من هون او هون. مش عم بحكي عن حدا معين، عن كل بظن يعني في مثل كانه kind of bureaucracy بالموضوع. اذا بده يصير يصير في اكثر public transport حتقل نسبة لقمة العيش لنقول لبعض الأشخاص، وهذا كمان ما بعرف بظن خاصه بالسوشيال هاي اللوب اللي كنت عم بحكي عنه.
Thank you. في نعمة. You were saying إنه it's not very safe. صح؟ Yes, of course, Sultan, you can add many points.
Okay, I'll just add one more point. It's the absence of any studies for the capacity of the current infrastructure. So if the current infrastructure can hold, for example, 200 cars, if we're having 400, as my friend a while ago who was talking about, why is that not controlled by the government or by the officials? So there is absence of any laws or regulations for such a thing, such an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because our infrastructure it's not developing with the development of the population. There is no plans, there is no expanding in the infrastructure and all the national wise. ما بعرف. Basically that's it.
Okay, thank you, Sultan. Ziad? Okay, so Ziad is not with us anymore. Shiraz, I don't know when was the last time you were in Lebanon. Hi.
No, I wanted to add a point. I think I agree with the point that was added in the message on safety in general, whether it's women's safety or safety of how the driver is driving or the roads in general. I think in terms of the challenges, I would put it on the human being in general.
Wow.
And I'm going to explain, because at the end, whether we are in a car or we choose transportation, I think that whether we are a driver or whether we are a passenger, if women, for example, face safety problem, it's the doing of the human being. If the driver is not driving safely, it's because of a lack of responsibility towards the passenger that he has. I think that, yeah, for me, I would just cluster it under the human beings in general. Whether we choose to take a car where we are alone rather than carpooling with the rest of the family, or, yeah, I would put it under that point.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Frederick, maybe you haven't been to Lebanon before, but do you think what are the main challenges from what you heard? We would love to hear from you.
Oh, sorry. Was that addressed to me?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, sorry. I was drifting off a bit. I think one of the main things that, coming from a Belgian perspective on this, I haven't been to Lebanon, that I see is that the system isn't recognizable. Like you can, it would be a lot easier, I think, if the buses had a uniform look, or maybe even the stops. So that you could see, like, oh, this is a bus I can take, because I thought it's also it seemed pretty hard for Lebanese people as well, because with the question of which is the state-owned and the private bus, yeah, I think the system is invisible, and I think if it was a little bit more visible, it would be better to identify which is the bus.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else, guys? Does anyone want to say anything?
سيرينا؟
Yes.
اوكي، ذكرت يمكن شوي بالتاريخ وشادي ذكرها وكارين ذكرتها، بس انه هي لانه كثير اساسيه. شبكه التواصل ما في تعاون لا بين القطاع العام ولا الخاص. اصلا العام قليل، يعني 35 باص يمكن بكل لبنان. ما في نقاط التقاطع تتنقل من خط لخط، مش واضح. وشبكه النقل متناقضه مع قانون السير. يعني بقانون، يعني العالم تنقل من باص لباص على التقاطع، وبقانون السير بيمنع توقف على التقاطع على 25 متر. يعني مش معروف كيف هيدا. وحتى قانون السير ذاته بيتناقض مع قانون 220 تبع الاشخاص المعوقين، يلي بيلزم انه يكون في نسبه 15% باصات مجهزه، بينما بقانون السير غايبه الماده كليا. يعني اللي بخطط واللي بيشرع واللي بيصمم ما بياخد، لانه ما عندنا استراتيجيه نقل. يمكن غياب استراتيجيه النقل وهيئه لتشتغل بكل هالامور غايبه. بتصير كل وزاره تشتغل لحالها، البلديات لحالها، وزاره النقل لحالها، تنظيم المدن لحاله، الماء والاعمار. يعني كل واحد بيعمل خطته وبحطه، مش بيقعدوا على طاوله وحده وبيعملوا شيء تخطيط، فما بتطلع، ما عم تنفع. فهيدا هو، وما في تعاون ابدا ابدا ابدا.
Thank you Fadi. شادي the floor is yours. كنت عم تخبرنا عن latest. ايه اكيد. هاي.
هو في حدا ما بيفهم عربي حتى اعرف احكي انجلش ولا؟
معنا اثنين ما بيحكوا عربي.
اوكي.
انا كذا واحد ما بيفهم.
لا بحكي عربي، ما في مشكلة.
Yes, so everything they said I agree, but there's one thing I wanted to add, is that although we have too many issues to solve in the public transportation in Lebanon, however, I think if we focus on us, on the human factor, on people using public transportation, everything will get better with time. I think the government neglect this sector because not a lot of people use it. They prefer to use cars, and I won't get in the reasons why. There are like millions of reasons. But if we think positively and take the bus and take the service and take public transport, solutions will come with time. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, guys, just for the sake of time, we're gonna move back to the presentation. Shadi, I'm please, yeah. So we wanted. you wanted to tell us more about the challenges you guys found doing your work.
Okay, so we said it's not only related to mobility يعني. So it's related to bunch of issues يعني, a lot of issues directly and indirectly. So we have there's no investment in the sector because they are neglected يعني, at some point. So there's not a lot of strategy, let's say, for urban strategy, and then the mobility strategy. There's no willingness, political will, geopolitical issues, also the instability. So all those يعني, factors and more make the challenges a lot of يعني, challenges to defeat at some point.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes. بس خليني أخلص بس.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Okay. So it's not as at some point Manal said, as riders right how we see it at some point, and it's people who can find solutions. That's why the informal has emerged at some point يعني, and is serving people now. And there's a lot of يعني, lot of people talk about trust. A lot of people talk about the plans, car industry, the cartel. I said the cartel of petrol at some point, and roads and infrastructure. Also, someone talk about livelihood. So I think the sector. We had yesterday a presentation about the informal system. They said the system is not giving a chance for only the driver, or also for the shop and places near those the system or lines. So I think it's a system we can build on it. For the safety and the security, it's not related to the system at some point directly. It's related to the whole يعني space or country at some point. So we always use the system, and a lot of girls use the system. I think Manal is one of them يعني. So we must try to break the stigma at some point. Also, we don't walk. So when you don't walk, you cannot see everything. Your perspective is very zoomed or very small. So I think when people يعني try to open يعني there's to new perspective and see things from other sides or other perspective, things will be better. The problem I think is boycotting. We are boycotting indirectly the system because lot of the culture, because lot of stigma that was in our mind by media or by our culture. So I think it's more at some point it's a cultural problem as part of it. Yani we must work on it at a time. Also, we are not a low country. يعني we don't يعني ما نطبق القوانين. في كثير قوانين حكى عنها فادي ما لنا مطبقه او متضاربه من بعضها. So كمان في كثير challenges بدنا نشتغل عليها سوا اكيد.
Chadi, you have to wrap up this section.
Okay, please.
So, no, just because of the timing. The thing that what Chadi is saying is like what you stated in the challenges goes for on a broader scale for about the situation in the country itself. So we do if you really want to have a safe or to invest more in the public transportation system, we should have like a lot of financial resources, which is now we don't have it. The country is going in really a bad financial crisis. So I don't know how it's going to happen. And I hope somehow in the future we will have a suitable system. We should have the government transparency where they're going to invest, especially that a lot of plans are. Okay, to have like, because our plans were done before and never shared with public and never been implemented, and especially now, if we want to have a suitable public transportation system, we should really reconsider our lands, because what is happening, many have exploitations on them. How يعني تعديات بالعربي. We should check with the CDR, with the government institution, how we can implement a suitable public transportation, or we should continue using the current system. Could you move? And another problem is the fuel availability and prices. So we really don't know where we are going with the mobility, and not only with on mobility, the whole country, what's going to happen. COVID was a real challenge, and once again, the informal system showed how it is resisting this the natural disaster, and of course, it's the accessibility, not only for the people, for women and children, but also for disabled people.
اوكي خليني بس اقول شغله على السريع، انه نحن كنا عم نشتغل على بروجي له خصه بالاكسسبيليتي مع الUPD، يعني الاتحاد اللبناني للاشخاص ذوي الاعاقه، وفادي يعني كان المسؤول على الفكره او المشروع. نقدر نخلي باص اكسسبل للويل تشيرز. كنا عم نشتغل على هذا المشروع وبعدنا عم نشتغل. اللي بيحب يكون معنا فيه كمان او يشتغل معنا بالان جي او كمان، وي كان شير الفورم تبعنا على الشات هلا. وشغله ثانيه انه كمان هلا نحن بالكرايسيس، الفاينانشال كرايسيس، اي ثينك انه في تحدي جديد للموبيليتي ما حدا عم يحكي فيها هلا، رح نشوفها لانه عم نشوفها على سعر البنزين هلا، وسعر البارتس، الكار بارتس، او كلهم حيتغيروا. كثير عالم رح تضطر تطلع من سياراتها، وهذا سؤال جديد، كيف الموبيليتي رح تكون بالسيتي او بلبنان بشكل عام، لانه حدا حكي بس نحن عم نحكي عن لبنان كله، وكيف التواصل كمان ببعضه. عندنا جود انفراستراكشر بالطرقات، بس ما عندنا جود انفراستراكشر بالموبيليتي وتواصل مع بعضهم الا عبر الانفورمال سيستم الموجود. هذا سؤال كبير كمان، كيف ممكن فينا نشتغل، خصوصا هلا في هاي تشالنجز. اذا طلعت تنكه البنزين لهلا 25,000 او مش 50,000 واكثر، شو رح يصير؟ هلا القطع السيارات ما حدا عم يقدر يغير، اليوم مقطوع المازوت للباصات. في عندنا مشكله موبيليتي مثل مشكله الغذاء. لازم نفكر كيف نشتغل هذا الشيء، ونشتغل as people, as it's our country, it's our life. بدي اشكركم، ما بعرف اذا حدا عنده شيء.
Yeah, thank you شادي على هيدا الاوفرفيو على ال challenges يلي الموبيليتي system is facing in Lebanon. What we was in the plan now was to take a break, but since like we're a bit running out of time, we will take a break by brainstorming informally by unmuting ourselves on what the solutions can be related to all the challenges you previously cited, Carine and yourself. And then maybe afterwards we can open the rest of the time for questions. So guys, regarding all the challenges we've heard, regarding what Carine and Chadi said, what do you believe are the solutions that we as youth can offer or can come up with? We've already have one solution, like to focus on what we can do for us to use more the bus. If I'm right, it's it was Manal's suggestion. So she said the more we use the bus, the more of solutions we will come up with. Yes, Sultan, of course, please unmute yourself.
Okay, I do believe we need to work more on awareness campaigns about the importance of public transportation, just to make people aware about that public transportation will help them in many levels. The second thing, it's the concept of carpooling will be now, maybe within the coming couple of months, this will be a popular thing to do, especially with when we're commuting towards Beirut. That's second. Third, I do believe we need to have, as one of my friends had mentioned earlier, we need to have a Ministry of Planning where this ministry will synchronize all the needs of the country, and one of them is the public transport and the infrastructure itself, with respect to all the challenges that that this infrastructure might need. So basically, that's all.
Thank you. Nicole, what are the solutions that you believe we can come up with?
في many solutions. For the challenge that is about mobility in terms of fuel وشو راح يصير بالprice of fuel. We could easily get electric buses. هلا صار في كتير electric buses around the world that we are getting donations for different things that we don't really need, where this is an important issue. So we can get either donations or we can even give it to an international company that would be like a private-public partnership. So they would split the profits with the government, and at the same time we would get the buses.
Okay. Or PPP, you mean?
Yes. شو كمان?
Frederick, is the availability of a big problem in Lebanon? So Chadi, maybe you would like to answer to this question. So Frederick is asking, is the availability of benzene is a big problem in Lebanon?
Okay. So for now, it will be in the future, I think, because of the rate of the dollar. So for now, we have a good quantity, and the government is supporting the price difference. But I don't know how they can hold 6 months, 8 months, but at a time they will not support. So the price will be higher, double, will be triple or double, I don't know. But I think people are must obliged to change their mobility at some point because they cannot afford it. It's not a choice anymore, I think. And maybe when we see crisis, we see opportunities. That's why we can push more for more public transportation, mass mobility, walking more. So I think maybe it's an opportunity for us to push.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? We need the solutions to be greater, and we need more solutions than problems.
Yeah, I have a solution, maybe a suggestion that maybe to digitalize the transport system more. Like I know there's a lot of initiatives like Yalla Bus. I think they tried to develop an app.
I think Yalla Bus stopped working.
يلا بس وقفوا الشغل من زمان.
Anyway, they tried.
But this is the thing. Okay, this is the thing about the initiatives that happened. A lot of initiative happened in the past and didn't continue for certain economic reasons, or it was a project for themselves. So it was good, but they didn't really give something to the sector. So it was a solution, but at the end, it was solution for what and to what extent?
Yeah,
so it's good. It's good always to have initiative, I think. Even they at some point, even they did not succeed, but it's good they start thinking to work on the system. Even they did not finish it at the end. Anyway, BusMap now has an app. It's a beta version. You can also check it. And also we are trying to work on digitalizing the informal system as pilot project, because we think at some point you cannot have one solution. You must make tailored solution, because every line has its own problems and let's say dimension of working or operating. So I think and we are opening the BusMap as open source, so the data can be used more and more with other application or platforms, let's say.
سيرينا؟
Yes.
انا عندي سولوشن من اللي عم ينحكى هلا بين الرفاق كلهم. يمكن اذا وعم بقترح شيء يكون عملي وسهل التطبيق، لانه مشاكل كثير تحسن النظام النقل كله سوا صعب كثير. الشركات تتعاون بين بعضها او تجيب لي يختار خط ما كثير عليه فريكونسي، يعني هيك. فالحل هو اذا بيعتمد التكنولوجيا مثل هيدي الاب اللي عم بيتحكى، اذا وتكون سهله ليوصلها اي رايدر. فشو ما كان شركه بدها تنزل فان باص شو ما كان تاكسي، وحتى هي بتوفر للكل للرايدرز وللدرايفرز وللشركات للكومبانيز انه ينعمل قانون ونعمل عليه لوبينج لينفرض انه اعتماد هيدي التكنولوجيا. بصير اي رايدر بيقدر يعرف اي ساعه واصل اي باص، ما بهمه قطاع عام او قطاع خاص حجمه، بيقدر يعرف. وحتى اذا مجرد ما يقف بمطرح، حتى لو ما عندنا باص ستوب او تاكسي ستوب او اي شيء، بيقدر بيقول انا واقف هون وبدي كذا، يصير يقدر يعرف مثل اوبر تقريبا. يعني بيعرف اي درايفر قريب بينبعث وبيأمن على حاله، بيعرف اي ساعه بينزل. وخاصه اذا الشخص عنده ديسيبل، اذا وجد كم باص مجهز بصير يعرف اي ساعه بيجي الباص مجهز. يعني التكنولوجيا اذا بتنفرض على كل مين بده يشتغل بقطاع النقل المشترك، الشركات يطبقوها يعني بكل باص، بعتقد يمكن بدايه يتحسن شوي الوضع.
اوكي فادي ثانك يو.
انا فيني حقول شي بعد؟
Yes of course.
الفكره حالا كان عم بيحكي ماف من وقتها قال انه شو قصه ببرد بيروت. نحن الفوكس تبعنا اكثر على بيروت. بعرف انه في بي ار تي ممكن يتنفذ بطرابلس بس
tell them what BRT is.
Yeah, but BRT is a bus rapid transit system. It's an elevated platform that could to have like one dedicated route for the buses. So it's not mixed traffic; it's a route on itself. And usually it's implemented in developed countries where you have a lot of traffic and there's no enough place for these buses. So they do like an elevated platform or side platform. So these buses can operate on these lanes. So the thing that they might have BRT in Tripoli. So and even like now in Beirut. This is like the formal solution from the government. So the government wants to implement it, and they already got the fund, and I don't know when it's going to happen. I hope it's not going to be just like the old the projects which remained ink on paper. So I think that if this is going to be implemented as a solution for what we are facing now, I don't know how they are going. What are they going to do with the informal system that exists now? So some state actors stated before that this system will be as a feeder system for the BRT. But to what extent, how this kind of cooperation is going to happen, and I hope it's not going. This existing system will not overlap with the BRT. So in a way, we will have another conflict between different operators. I don't know if it's going to be the ultimate solution, and of course, Chadi will say no. Even me, I will say no for it. But this is the CDR, the government, and the ministry, and everyone is saying yes for this kind of project. So I don't know what is going to be to happen in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
Serena,
please, Fadi.
الCDR البي ار تي بتقول وقت عملوا عرضهم تقرير الCDR كنت شادي وانا بعرض التقرير. هن بده يعملوه كانوا من طبرجة لقلب بيروت، وهن الCDR قال في مشكلتين. في اذا ما طبق مشروع الاي 1 يعني توسيع الاوتوستراد بين طبرجة وبيروت ما بيمشي الCDR، ما بيمشي البي ار تي. والطرقات الداخليه ببيروت ما قادرين يعملوا باص لين خاص ليمشي البي ار تي فيه. فعدا انه نحن عندنا رؤيتنا انه منه متواصل ومتقاطع مع بقيه الباصات، يعني مش معروف كيف هو النظام ومنفصل كليا.
بس كمان بدي زيدك على كفادي، بس الفكره ليش ما قالوا، ليش رفضوا يعني، او ليش ما قدروا يمرقوا الباص البي ار تي ببيروت؟ لانه الميونيسيباليتي تبع بيروت رفضت تشيل 2000 او 3000 باركينج على اليمين لا يمرقوا الباصات. سو من هون كمان جزء من السوليوشن اي ثينك انه ما حدا ما ذكرناه انه municipalities. جزء من السوليوشن الميونيسيباليتيز ترجع تاخذ صلاحياتها. بعتقد كارين حكت
decentralized you mean؟
ما سمعت.
Decentralized the services.
It's not decentralized but it's part of the solution. يعني لانه ما في solution one solution, it's a transitional solution or incremental solutions. So when you give the municipality or when the municipality take يعني صلاحياتها ترجع تنظم النقل على الاقل المواقف، كمان هي جزء او تمشي او تنظم، هي فيها او اتحادات البلديات مش ضروري البلديه بيتعاونوا مع بعض، لانه 20 سنه وكان في خطه نقل 250 باص وبعد ما صارت لانه في تضارب صلاحيات وفي عندنا تضارب صلاحيات كثيره، فكمان هي بيأثر على هذا الشيء. فكمان ما ننسى البلديات، ونحن فينا از يوث فينا نتعاون مع البلديات، نخلق باص ستوبس، معنا باص ستوبس، فينا نخلق باص ستوبس بمحل ما لازم تخلق الباص ستوب بطريقه علميه، بطريقه تاخذ الاكزيستنج سيستم. اولسو كمان كان حكي انه حدا على الشات تايمينج وباص ستوبس، ويعني we cannot move, let's be يعني honest, we cannot move from informal system to a formal system if we live in informal country. So هيدا الواقع. So we must deal with it. So مشان هيك السوليوشن is incremental. وثاني شيء if as Lebanese we don't respect the time, even the authority don't respect the time for election, how do you want a bus driver to respect the time?
So what's the solution? What's the solution, Chadi, in this case?
Probably informality will be the
like
ultimate
Manal
solution.
said, is to stop boycotting the system and start using it and demand more investment in public transportation.
So boycott what exactly? When you say like
existing system, the informal system, to be used as backbone for any future project in public transportation. So هذا الموجود النظام الموجود نجرب نحسنه with technology, with integrating municipalities, with نوصل ببعضه as plan و authorities، ونحن نطالب as a voice of riders يكسر هاي الكونفليكتس الموجوده اللي هو نحن بدنا الخدمه من ما قدمها تكون affordable و accessible for all. So هيدا مع الوقت نحن بنحس هالشيء، مشان هيك في كثير جمعيات عم تشتغل على الموضوع اللي نحن منهم رايدرز رايت. اللي بيحب يتطوع معنا you can go to our Facebook page or في حدا يبعت اللينك على الشات. كمان we are working with international union يعني they work on transit union بأمريكا. We are launching a network of transit union بالريجن hope so اسمها Riders Rights International. Also كمان في حدا عم بيشتغل على الموبيليتي مثل ما حكينا الشين افكت سايكلينج، في كثير جروبس اوف سايكلينج في تريبولي مايرز وبيروت مايرز، في كذا جروبس، وفي ناس عم تشتغل على ترين
يلي انت عم بتقوله شادي كريكومنديشن كسوليوشن انه for us used to engage more in this project.
اكيد
Okay.
Because it's not related only to transportation as I said before, it's related to our life. When we think it's part of our life, I think we can change, and also it's our behavior at some point. Yeah. So the solution began from us, our behavior. Like we start to recycle. Some people start to recycle waste. It's our time to recycle the air by using the mobility, the existing mobility, and demanding for future يعني future يعني أو green mobility. Also, I want to note a last thing إنه the tramway in when was يعني كان ماشي, it was a green energy. It used water energy and steam energy in 1892, I think. So we had it before. We can have it now if we have the will, and we say we are the state, and we don't wait the state, because we waited the state for 30 years, and I think the people now in the street demanding for يعني their rights more and more, and when we stop when we يعني stand in solidarity with all rights of people and not be fragmented, I think we will have our country better and the mobility better.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank you. Thank you, Chadi. Thank you, Carine. I need to give the floor to Manal, if I'm not wrong. Someone wanted to talk. Someone raised their hands before. Manal, please, the floor is yours.
Serena, just share your PowerPoint presentation.
My PowerPoint.
For the initiatives that, for the initiatives that Chadi just talked about.
Yeah, sure. Just 1 second. Please let me know when you can see it.
The next one.
Yeah, but Manal wanted to say something, and then we had the. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, there's Shiraz and Frederick after it.
Yes, true.
Yes, I'll be very fast. Just to add to what Chadi was saying, if only men, for example, are using the bus, and this is speaking about safety and the sense of security. If only men are taking the bus driver will have a habit of that all the riders are men. And then if one woman is using the bus, she will definitely feel like an intruder because it's not something that happens. But if families are using the bus, if women are using the bus, if everyone is using the bus, then the drivers will co-op and they will change their habits for it to be suitable for everyone. That's just like a small note on what Chadi was saying.
Thank you for sharing, Manal. Yeah, so your point is to change our behavior, all of it, is to make people use it more.
Yes.
Yeah, Frederick, what's your idea?
Hi, I was thinking that community activism can be a really good catalyst for this if you do it in a public way. For example, like if you're saying that the buses are stuck in traffic all the time and nothing is changing, well, maybe as a point of activism, you could during the night just paint a bus lane as a project on one of the busy roads, and then you also can show people like there is space for this. We can do this differently.
Tactical urbanism.
Yeah.
Okay.
So be creative as a community.
We will, there's a couple of ideas we were thinking about for a bike lane in this way, but things happen. We had a revolution and we had the corona, so things has pushed away at some point.
Yeah.
And we have a new, let's say, priorities now. So you have the corona, and we are trying to work, to survive after the corona.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was also talking about the migrant community center. So a lot of riders are from this community. So when we stand together with other community, I think we can make the change faster. When we defend all the rights of communities, I think the change will be more and faster.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chadi. Shiraz, the floor is yours. And then I will have to conclude.
Okay.
It's a question that, because in terms of solution, I mean, one of the points that was raised at the beginning that YAC introduced with their question was in relation to mobility and trust. Mm-hmm. And considering that we are discussing the involvement of municipality and government, etc., as it is their responsibility, in addressing solution around trust, because if people don't feel putting their trust into mobility and transportation, they will not use it. So then what are the solution related to change of that feeling and
it's culture, I think. If I can say it, I respond about this. So at some point, if you talk about the civil war in Lebanon, you have a bus, a picture of a bus. So at some point, so like I said, it's a cultural. So in your back mind, the bus is something dangerous at some point. And we have the safety measures for us is to have the privacy, to be in a car, the lecture with it. So we were used to this, and we don't have a lot of public space, and we don't have the culture of using the public space. That's part of the problem, I think. So people, that's why people are not more aware about the system, and they are afraid at some point to use it. And that's why we are doing the trips activity to go with people in the bus and giving the experience of using the system more and more. We are succeeding at some point. I think we succeed to break some stigma and succeed with some authorities to admit about the system. There's a system and we must work with this. We had a lot of media conversation or announcement where some of the authorities said there's a system and we must, from the نقابة الهندسة to the Ministry of Transportation. So they know more and they want, but the problem for them, how to integrate the system. It's a big problem. It's not an easy solution. It's not only in Lebanon. Also, I want to say we are categorizing the informal system as it's a not good. It's something not good. So the informal system, it's an organic system that creates itself because there's a gap. So, and also if you have in America, there's an informal system. Uber is an urban, they said urban transportation at some point. It's informal system at some point. In a lot of countries, you have an hybrid system. So let's not think about negativity about the system. It's a system that serves and a part of the solution.
Yes, thank you, Chadi. This is clear. Guys, does anyone have a last message or last question that they would like to ask before we conclude? Okay. Yeah, so we have 3 questions. Yes, Fadi.
بس عندي يعني طلب وقالين اذا في حدا من اللي معنا او من اصحابهم اللي بيعرفون يعني ميكانيكال انجينيرنج او شيء، اذا بحبوا يساعدونا تنشتغل نعمل بايلوت فان او ميكروباص يكون مجهز ليكون مرحب لا ليكون في هويست بلاتفورم تطلع ويل شير عليه او رامب، يعني اي شيء تنقدر نعمل انه بمورد محلي وبسيط قد ما فينا نقدر نقول انه تجهيز مش مثل ما هن عم بيقولوا بكلف. نجرب نعمم الفكره اذا بيقدروا يكونوا بالتيم معنا يا ويلكم.
At some point, I think it's easier to integrate changes in informal system than a formal system. So we can take this opportunity to make some changes. So it's easy to make a van accessible, then go to state and tell them make those vans or bus accessible. Or it's a bureaucracy thing. So I think we can take it as an advantage for changing at some point. فادي يعني اذا نحن كنا عم نجرب نعمل فريق لهذا السوليوشن. We did not finalize the solution, so we are in the design thinking phase. Then we will go to at some point the implementation at some point.
لانه وقت خططنا بال 2019 على اساس 2020 فاجت سنه سوداء ما حدا خاطر على باله يصير كل هالامور اللي صارت.
بس your ask اللي عم تساله انت is very valid. نحن of course we will share in our community. I know Nicole here is an engineer. Nicole, you're still with us? Yes, so أكيد فادي بنرجع بنحكي بهذا الموضوع. إذا حدا من الشباب الموجودين بالكول is an engineer and would love to contribute, please do get in contact with riders. ونحن of course we will share it with our community. Thank you فادي for sharing. For the sake of time وديجا نحن لأنه تأخرنا عليكم, I would have to conclude. Carine, Chadi, thank you very much. Thank you riders for accepting to be our speakers today. Thanks everyone who joined us. Thank you for sharing your ideas or the challenges you believe are here. We hope to see you again very soon in our next YACtime. Stay posted. We will share with you what the next topic will be. If you haven't followed us on Facebook or on Instagram or haven't checked our website, please do and leave us any input or comment or idea. We would love to read them. So I'm gonna check what's in the chat. For change. Yes.
Can we take a photo?
Of course.
Stop sharing your screen, Serena.
can we say a final? Thanks.
Yes,
يعني
of
for
course,
all.
of course, yeah.
Thanks for hosting us as Riders Right
هاخد
team.
سكرين شوت. هذا ياخد
Oh.
سكرين.
Could everyone open their screen? Okay, cool.
1 second,
بدهم
I'm
ياخدوها من-
joining you. I'm joining you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending with us and giving all those ideas, important ideas.
Okay, I'm here.
Thanks, Serena.
Here. Because I'm opening on 2 laptops and it's cell phone to be here. Can you see me now? Yeah.
ايه شفناك.
Okay.
Who's taking
Smile.
the picture?
رود عامل سكرين شوت.
Yes, please.
شاركنا. ما بتضبط سكرين شوت، الهوست بده ياخدها لنبين معه كل الفيديو.
شو اسمه؟
Yes, I got it.
Great.
Thank you for joining,
Perfect.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very
See you
much.
soon.
Yeah,
Thank you, Yak.
thank you,
Bye.
Karina. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
And the team.
Thank you.
Bye.
وكريستين.
ومنال. كريستين. وحيفا.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye, Haidar.
Bye.
Serena,
Yes, Christina.
can you just عزبك بالchat box
Yes.
في save chat if you can do it لأنه my connection went and then everything got deleted.
Save chat. Okay. Chat saved.
So it should save on your desktop as chat text.
Okay.
يلا.
كيف هذه؟ اتفقنا. اوكي.